Just getting this started. Sharing some links. I'm gonna let people roll in for a bit. All one or two people that might roll in. Alright, let's share this. So people can see I'm doing it. Ooh, the hearing protection when I talk to you. Can't really hear myself. Folks on Facebook, Blue Sky. Live smiley face. Maybe that'll do it. There's Blue Sky, there's Facebook. I'm gonna let some people roll in. I think by now most of you know what's going on here. I know I stream pretty erratically, but I have a full-time job and my own business. So it's a little difficult to schedule streams. Getting used to it though. And I do have chat up, so I'm able to read your comments, answer questions, do all that sort of stuff. Okay. Looks like the video's coming in fine. Let's jump to microscope. Microscope looks like it's coming in fine. Jump to Twitch. Yeah, looks like that's showing up. Pretty new to this, so I'm still working out these kinks. So for you, those of you who don't know me, those 2 or 3 people who are listening right now, you may have seen my other streams. My name's Steve Clausen, professional vertebrate fossil preparator. I manage the laboratory and federal repository at Badlands Dinosaur Museum in Dickinson, North Dakota. This is my own lab. I don't do dinosaurs here. Dinosaurs is sort of my daytime job. You can see my archive stream from a few days ago when I did do some dinosaur prep during the day, but for the most part I use very delicate hand tools here to work on shale fossils, mostly fossil fish, fossil birds, everything in between, things that are not easy to prep using standard methods. You need very high magnification, you need very precise tools. So I was going to switch into that. So I do have a really nice microscope camera. And there are a few such delicate tools shown here. So, I forgot about a pointer. We'll use a pointer here. So with this little insect pinning device here, this in this casing, just to be safe, this is a hypodermic needle. This is a 1.5 millimeter tungsten carbide rod that is attached to a pin vise. This is about the size of a pin vise most preparators are using. Though to work on fossil fish, we need something more like this, something whose tip is much thinner than a human hair. This is a tungsten carbide pin vise that is refined much thinner than this one. I've shown sharpening on this stream before, but this one's getting there, but for today's project it won't be that big of a deal. But it was fun just to compare the three. Now I gotta put my pinning device away. Get those out of the way. I will be using them a little later. So, I don't know if you can see that. No, it's kind of difficult, isn't it? Well, let's get into the light down here. This is the fossil we're going to start working on. This is a specimen of Phareodus testis. This is an arowana relative from the Eocene, about 55 million years old. So this is again from the Green River Formation, an ancient lake system in Wyoming. Kemmerer, Wyoming, in particular, in particular, though deposits of the Green River Formation are known in Colorado and Utah as well. It's just these units in Wyoming, especially this one, it comes from the F1 beds. They have incredible preservation, scales, eye tissue, even organs, entrails, hearts in some animals have been identified, preserved. And how do you get those out of a piece of shale? Naked eye doesn't cut it sometimes. You need really high magnification and different kinds of lighting. So I have oblique warm lighting here, and I have 45-degree warm lighting here, but at a whim I can change the brightness and the warmth. So if I want to work with colder light, I can make that happen. Or I can go back to warmer light. I can change the brightness. Yeah, there we go. Makes it nice and warm. I don't sell any of these. This is not a commercial operation. I'm doing this for science and for a book I'm writing, as well as just for the fun of it. So this specimen just happened to have a line cut through it here in the quarry by a saw. Cement saw on accident, so it's missing parts of the back of the skull and some of the pectoral fin, but you know, for me it's fine. We're going to make this look beautiful and follow my journey with this fish and other things as I work on getting my camera over our air abrasion setup, and I think it'll be fun. So, switch to scope again. So these scopes have higher magnification than you'll find at most museum laboratories, which isn't really good. I'm trying to change that with some of my colleagues, trying to get everybody up to speed on what kind of equipment they should be using. I do these late at night again because this is really my only time for things like this. want to do them during the day more often, but it is what it is. So if I keep this oblique lighting on, I don't know if it comes out. Make it even more oblique. So, this is why out in Wyoming we don't do field work at high noon or when the sun is highest in the sky, because we would miss these little bumps and ridges. Underneath here are vertebrae. When I start a fish, I don't start at the skull. I follow the vertebrae to what about right here is the base of the tail. And I like to start working out the base of the tail. No reason in particular, that's just my preferred place, and I get used to the nature of the matrix. It varies, even meter by meter. And so I don't do anything, critically awful to skull bits, which are, diagnostic components. This is, it's not a common fossil fish, but it's not unheard of, so it's good for a practice specimen. Just have to fix myself the room to work on this. A lot of these live streams, it's just me jabbering, I guess you should say, talking to myself about what needs to happen. I'm letting what would normally be my internal monologue during a work day, letting that come out a little bit so you can understand what I'm thinking and why I'm doing what I'm doing. Let's see. That looks a little overexposed on your end there. Tone that light down a little bit. And I'm going to work on my ISO. A little lower. There we go. Hi, again. Well, if you're here, let me know in the comments. I don't want to be a broken record and describe again and again and again each of the tools I'm using. I don't mind doing that, but I don't want to overwhelm you with stuff you already know. But I would love to explain if you have a question in the comments. Love to explain what I'm doing and how I got here. So the first phase in starting a new fish is discovery, figuring out like where the base of the tail is. So I start with a paddle pin vise here. This does produce dust, so I have a lock line assembly attached to my air compressor, and with the touch of a foot pedal I can get rid of those particles. In fact, I can sustain it and you won't see any at all. I have 2 extractors running. I should say I have one dust extractor and an air scrubber, a HEPA air scrubber that is keeping me safe from the dust. Blows right away from me. Let's see how the lighting is looking. It's still a little bright, isn't it? Tone that down a little bit. A little closer. Some more light. Let's figure out where this fish is. There's no part of it exposed on the surface, so we have to move down through the varves. Varves are seasonal depositional layers. So the spring and summer layers, those are these darker orange. They're very carbon rich, as you'd expect in a lake system during the summer, lots of carbon input. And these fluffy white layers, well, those are winter. Late fall, winter, early spring. When plants are no longer sort of entering that, can't say abyssal plain because it's a lake, but it is like detrital snow in the ocean. I want to orient myself again. So yeah, I mean, I'm in the right place to locate the base of the tail. Bearing, yeah, I'm still in the right place. Move back a little more. Tail can get really, really thin and slender in places like this. This is more robust right here. So I think I'll crack out an air scribe for this. every time I adjust magnification, I have to sort of redo my lighting. Let's see. Still coming out pretty bright. Need to adjust my ISO. See, are we getting there? Are we getting there? Zoom all the way out. So this is the base, the vertebral column, I should say, most distal vertebra right there. The tail fin's going to fan out here. I'm just searching for that vertebra, slightly deeper than I thought it would be, but you know, that always seems to be the case with these things. Bingo! Alright, so there's some bone down there. Bone or scale. So the one or two people who might be here, these are traces of two vertebrae. Even though I'm using a very fine air scribe, I am still nicking them in places. Of course, this is still 15 magnification and you're not going to see those nicks, but I'm nitpicky about nicks, you could say. I want to avoid that. I'm just trying to figure out how deep this fish is. Once I get a better sense of it, I'm going to use a much coarser air scribe to knock a wider area down so we can use pin vicing techniques, air abrasives, etc. to get the rest of it exposed in a museum quality manner. So I think I have a sense for where we are. Liquid there. Just have to make sure I don't have much water in the lines. I'm getting a sense where we are, so I can use a coarser scribe. Knock this all down. You're just watching the HW322 fine air scribe. I'm going to blast out the Zoic Velociraptor Mark II, so much coarser comparatively. Much more powerful, something I wouldn't use for fine fossil prep, but nice for chipping away excess matrix. Ooh, that is loud. I'm going to adjust my hearing protection here. You can get a sense just for how that matrix peels away when treated right. When I say matrix, I'm talking about all the sediment surrounding the fossil bone, scale, or soft tissue that needs to be removed in order for the prep to be complete. There are a lot of words that I use that if you're new to paleo or prep you might not understand. I'm not doing this stream to be alone and to be unbothered. I'm here for education, to take questions. I don't earn any money from this. I don't intend to. I don't want to. I want people to donate primarily to Badlands Dinosaur Museum, #1. We're a non-profit federal repository. I am in my own lab doing my own projects, but during the day I manage that lab and work on dinosaur fossils. We're in critical need of supplies and people to work on the fossils, especially considering the iffiness of obtaining future federal grants as we've been relying on. So in my bio there's a link to our throne, and if there are enough people to start chatting, I'll throw it in the chat. I'm not gonna do that up front, because I'm glad you're just here watching me work on fossils. And I do have a couple of cameras going on in the future. I'm going to have more, like for watching air abrasion, which I can do a little right here, but not as much as I'd like to. I wanted a way to be able to look at you face to face and talk to you if need be. So if any of the couple of viewers that are here, and I see that you're here, want to chat or have questions, please throw them my way. I'd really appreciate that. I know it's late for me. I don't know if it's late for you. I'm about midnight U.S. Mountain Time. This is what I do late at night on weekends, if you can believe it or not. Okay, we'll go back to the scope camera. I'm glad people are here viewing. I'm glad you're getting something out of it. You'll have to put up with me walking away, well, not literally walking away from the camera, but adjusting sometimes, getting new tools out. It's best not to rush things like this. I'm going to peel back a little bit, just to again give you a sense of the size of what I'm working on. So this is 15 mag, I believe. Here's my finger, and this this fossil fish, this Phareodus, is going to be like 5 finger lengths for me. So we're just in the beginning, and we have 2.5 vertebrae exposed, or at least the last var, the last layer of shale has been exposed. Then we're going to use finer techniques to go after the bones so we can preserve the scales and any soft tissues that might be there. But I'll shut up for a bit, unless anybody's opposed. But let me know if the sound of the tools is a little too high. I can pitch that down in OBS for you. If you just want to have it on in the background, sort of a ASMR kind of thing. And introduce yourself in chat, ask some questions. I see that you're here. May as well. Changing the orientation. Best when using air scribes to work with the forward 45-degree angle. You see in places I end up nicking the verts a little bit, but the long run, not a huge deal, but I don't really want to be doing that. Just demonstrating how I don't take an eternity to dig to the fish with really fine tools. I use coarser tools to rough it out before I do the fancy stuff. stalled a little bit. Turn on. Now, if I step back for a moment after all that, it might feel like, you know, a lot of work's been done. Look at all that. My colleague at the museum says that when he's under the scope, feels like he's moving mountains. But here's that hypodermic needle again, and I can see that conduit right there. It's really not a lot of material moved, and my colleagues in the know would consider this a coarse instrument. Just a little inside knowledge. To those of you who are listening or just joined, I see there are people here even though it's late at night. I don't want to be a broken record, but I'm also here to answer questions. If I wasn't, the camera would be off, I wouldn't be streaming at all. I'm really happy to share this. I wish I could do it more often. My position in Dickinson at Badlands Dinosaur Museum is a full-time, often more than not, and I also have my own small business. All of this takes up a lot of my time, but on the weekends, late at night, I work on shale fossils, just on my lonesome, so I figured why not share that with everybody. Tell me if the tool noise is too loud. I could tone that down in OBS a bit. Let me know if you can hear me, if there are any microphone problems. Let's see. I'm a one-man show here at the moment in terms of editing, but I am here. I also have an auxiliary camera, so I'm looking right at you, my 3 or 4 or 5 people who are in the audience. I'm a real person. I'm a vertebrate fossil preparator, almost 20 years professionally. I feel younger than that, but it is what it is. Maybe I look young. I don't know. But I am a real person. I'll switch back to the microphone. Rather the scope camera that has the microphone I'm using. I'm using a scope that can go from roughly 10 to 100 magnification. Most labs that have scopes, they stop at about 40 or 50. So that's 40 here, 50 here, which is better than nothing, but I want to be able to get as close as I can. And of course you see that as I zoom in, I lose light. Now I have to dim it a bit for your purposes when I'm zoomed out a little bit. But I can open that aperture and let a little more in. I'd be happy to talk equipment and tools and things if people were interested. This is a fossil fish from the Eocene, 55 million years old, talking too fast. Phareodus testis, it's an arowana relative, but most people liken it to a piranha. So it's going to have some really nice big teeth. It's going to look really cool. It's not a common fish. I mean, it's not ultra rare, so I can be experimental with some of the methods here, but yeah, I mean, this is the kind of fish that'll take a dozen, 2 dozen sort of streams to finish unless I use sort of rapid air abrasion techniques. We'll do some air abrasion. I'm just getting the scope set up working over my chamber, because when you do air abrasion you have to extract the abrasive medium. The particles can damage your lungs. Even the particles I'm making right now, the dust I'm making, is being extracted. I have a dust extractor to my left, and this whole room is scrubbed. I have a HEPA air scrubber. So with that, I can do a little more coarse work. So I'm just trying to get through these varves, these seasonal layers, down to just a couple layers above the fossil, where I'll do even finer work from there. So the tail should start here. I love starting at the tail, so that's what I'll continue doing. I'm using an air scribe. If there are paleo people here, you know what I'm talking about, but just for the sake of it, an air scribe is effectively a miniature jackhammer. Using jackhammers every summer, I can attest to that. They work very similar. They use compressed air to push either a piston or a push plate against a spring, which bounces back and forth over an O-ring that makes a seal. And that can be serviced here. You're going to open it up. I'm not going to do that right now. This is model Zoic Velociraptor Mark II, if you're curious. It is not a very fine instrument. It's pretty rough, but I need that right now to get this shale down. break, check the chat. Thank you for joining. Rushwing. Yeah. It's not super easy to set up video under a stereo microscope. It takes a lot of parts that aren't being manufactured anymore, tracking them down. It's not super cheap, but doable. I'm glad to just bring this experience to you. You may have seen videos of wide-angle shots of people brushing off a dinosaur bone, but even with dinosaur bones, in my lab, every station has a scope. More than 60% of the time you are under a scope because we have fossils with soft tissue. We have a Lambeosaurus with skin that's as, my colleague Devery is as thin as a toad skin, and if you don't have things like infrared light, ultraviolet light, you might not even see them. So the stuff I'm doing under the camera here, this is just the beginner stuff, and most museum labs are not up to par even with this. So I'm not bashing amateurs. I'm not bashing professionals. In particular, I'm not, how should I say, bashing avocationals. This runs the gamut on anybody who's working on a fossil. I don't have many opinions on anybody who's a commercial collector, anybody who is strictly fossils belong to science, fossils belong in repositories. Or anybody who's just walking down a beach and finds a shark vertebra. Our goal as preparators is really this sort of Hippocratic oath that no matter what happens to a fossil, it is our due diligence to scientifically prepare. And by scientifically prepare, I mean get every single detail that nature has granted us out of the fossil. That said, fossil preparation is inherently destructive. The safest place for a fossil to be, like this one here, is stuck in the shale in which it was buried, away from our eyes. Yet right now, I'm bringing it forth. There are going to be little pieces of bone that go away. There are going to be pieces of scale that go away. But just because that happens, it doesn't mean we shouldn't strive to be better as preparators. I won't say I'm a little fringe, but I am a little fringe when it comes to those opinions, because it means we have to go to school for some things. We have to learn, so to speak. I can go back to that scope camera though. Now I'll do a little more coursework with this Velociraptor 2 scribe from Zoic, and then I'll do some finer stuff. Expose some of this bone and tissue. This should be the last vertebra in the, distalmost vertebra in the fish, and that's going to lead to the caudal fin right here. So the caudal fin should occupy this space, and then the back leads up to the skull, and so the base of the skull should be here. I have this specimen because it was cut in the field by a cement saw right through here. That shouldn't make that big a deal. In fact, you can watch me make some fake matrix to just fill that in. I never restore fossils, but I will fill in gaps like that. Fossil restoration is a sin. We should not hide our mistakes. It's not scientific. I keep changing my orientation because I want to be going generally forward at 45 degrees. That's how we chip sail. This is a particularly sticky oil sail. Once again, from the Green River Formation, F1 beds. And I understand not everybody, has a thing for fish. I like fossil fish because that was my first couple of years of my career working on them and digging them up. So even at my talks, I tell people, I get tired of dinosaurs even though it's my day job, but tell me your favorite dinosaur in the comments. We didn't talk about dinosaurs. I know some things about dinosaurs. I've published plenty on dinosaurs, but I just love the guilty pleasure of shale fossils, fish in particular. Though if the stream gets popular enough, we'll work our way up to doing birds and turtles, maybe, things like that. Just taking stock of where we are. Eventually I'm going to do some finer work, get some of these vertebrae here exposed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I think. Just going to get this wedge down, but use some finer techniques. Alright, let's start figuring out where things are. Now I'm going to use a much finer air scribe. This is the German Hardy Winkler HW322. Not really being made anymore these days, so hard to find, but finest air scribe known to man. Those Zoic get really close with their velour. It's just a long waiting list. This is 50x magnification, half of what this is capable of. enough nicking bone there. Let's use some finer tools. Alright. Let's do about 80 magnification there. Have to get my incandescent light closer. This is a tungsten carbide pin vise, about half as thick as a hypodermic needle. It's going to need a bit of sharpening soon, but I don't mind the blunt end here. We're just pushing the matrix off the bone. I have this lock line nozzle attached to my air compressor. I regulate it down to 20 to 40 psi, and I have a foot pedal that uses air to blast the debris away, or else it builds up like this and I can't see anything. Like more incandescent light. That's what I'm trying to do here. You lose light as you increase magnification. Change how oblique that is. Might sharpen this pin vise. But I do like what it does. Like I said earlier, you get to listen to what's normally my inner monologue as a preparator just come out into the world. sort of thing that'll have to be finished off with air abrasion. I maxed out at 100x. I want more, but that's very hard to find more in a binocular stereoscope. You can't just use one eye to prep fossils. Pull back a little bit. Get that HW scribe back. Come. Preparing fossils. A Saturday night going into Sunday morning. Isn't that great? If you're on mountain time in the US, that is. It's always interesting to see. Even though it is relatively late, I have an audience. Was surprised the last time around. A little more interaction, but that's okay. If you're watching, give me a shout out in the comments. Ask me a question. What's my favorite dinosaur? Who's my favorite character in It's Always Sunny? Kidney beans or lima beans? Is Stygimoloch overrated? Did Tony Stark deserve to die? Yes, and why do you think so? Cats or dogs? Only cats, please. You like retro gaming? Guess I kinda do. Just got a CRT on a whim. It's really my girlfriend's fault. CRT. Supposedly things like GameCube are better on it. It's alright. Anyway, welcome to the Fossil Prep channel. I hope you're wonderfully confused. a second. Oops, push that out of the way a bit. It happens. I'm a one-man show, so well, at the moment at least, so it takes a little while to switch tools. Racers on. Alright, so that's what we got going on. Some of you might like this. Oh, cloud ready. That's how it goes. Gotta be very careful with air abrasives. There's really only one or two machines that can do the job this fine with this much control. You pay for quality, but there are the scales. So I work down right to this layer with hand tools. And then I use air abrasives to sort of finish it off. But this fish is still going to take a lot of work. It's just the base of the tail fin. Let's see if I make any mistakes. I'm using 5 psi with just the smallest powder flow. Well, I can do smaller, but still getting the unit into tip-top shape at the Swan Blaster MV2L by Crystal Mark. Those little dimples on that scale. It's going to be hard to get out using any other method than fine air abrasion. Not anything you can buy on eBay, or sorry Zoic, even from Zoic. Even where you can find these things, you have to tune them yourself for the best possible results. This is just a first sweep. I'll end up doing more in the future. It goes from harsh mechanical to light mechanical to manual to air abrasive when I do fish. If some fish can't take air abrasives, then just like the last one I was doing on the stream, it's really just a bunch of hand tools. Bird feathers don't really like abrasives, fossil feathers I should say. But maybe we're just not using the right techniques. Maybe we haven't found them. That's why we experiment. Okay, let me pull back on that. Well, it's something, I suppose. Oh, that's a clog. another clog. Happens when the pressure is this low. Alright, now I'm pushing the boundaries a little bit. But that's how we use all these mechanical manual air abrasive techniques in tandem to get these fish done. This is still just the base of the tail. And expand this way using the coarse scribe next. Just a little bit more. Well, people have been asking for air abrasion, so there you go. So coarse air scribing to get down to just a few layers above the bone level. Then we'll go to like 80 magnification. No, we'll pull back a little more. Get some of the rest of those layers off. HW22. Went pretty deep already. Pre-air abrasives, you always gotta get these orange layers off as best as possible. Those spring, summer, seasonal barbs, they're just tougher. A little more fun though. Probably do a little more abrading and then get to ending the stream unless somebody has objections. Objections always keep me going. Kind of a quiet night. I'll stay if you want me to. If I'm helping somebody out there, it's fine. Otherwise, maybe about go time. these orange layers are just not being as diligent as I can, but this isn't exactly Archaeopteryx. Well, what am I saying? I'm being pretty diligent. Little mistakes happen. These are little fin rays here. Often better to get out with pin vicing. I'm just trying to test how they react to the powder here. I could be weaker with the powder flow, but this is all an experiment. Not doing bad. Not doing bad at all. Thanks, Pocket Paris. I'm glad some people are watching. My goal is to entertain and to educate. I mean, I do this over the weekends alone. Why not share some of it, even if just a few people are watching? This flow's a bit stronger than my liking, but I'm okay with it. It's doing its job. I'm just gonna sit back, take a look at the chat for a second, adjust the camera. So just to prove I'm real again, I have a monitor up here. I can see people's comments. I think the camera got knocked down a little bit. I don't know. Pretty new to all of this still, the streaming aspect of things. I've always wanted to play a D&D game. Never gotten around to it. A couple friends and colleagues are really into it. Wouldn't mind that. Dragon? How about all the dragons? How many dragons you got? Throw 100 at them. I think that'd be cool. Sometimes you gotta go wild with it. So, as it comes to fish and shale, I guess what I should clarify is most of these geological units that we consider shale, for example, Green River Formation, Solnhofen, Germany, where you have Archaeopteryx, things like that, the Messel Pit, Germany, I mean, you name it. First and foremost, you're finding a lot of fish. Now, on top of that, are a lot of much cooler things. So, Green River Formation, we have turtles. On top of that, birds. In 2008, I found a new species of bird in the Green River. I was standing right next to Lance Grandy, like Mr. Green River, and there it was, and now that's on display at the field. I've worked on a number of birds from the Green River Formation, and mammals as well, so I've prepared some early Creodon relatives from that unit. There's a book that Lance published. It feels like 2 years ago, but maybe it's a decade ago at this point. Really like a pictorial guide to the fossil fauna of the Green River Formation. Fossil Lake in particular. I have like a signed copy, and I'm credited in it. I can't for the life of me remember the title, but you get that. A lot of those specimens were worked on by myself and my first two mentors, Connie Van Beek, who's still one of two staff preparators at the field, and Mike Eklund, who's this all-around likely one of the best preparators out there. I like shale fossils because they're hard. Dinosaur fossils, easy at this point, easy, big old easy projects, except for the case of things like our Lambeosaur that has fossil skin. That gets me excited because I need a scope setup like this to do. But sometimes I'm not challenged enough as a preparator at a dinosaur museum. I hate to put it that way, but this is how I started. This keeps me going. I'm not going to say I was never a dinosaur kid. I think all kids go through a dinosaur phase. I have some dinosaur books from when I was a kid, but I wasn't like really passionate about dinosaurs. It was rocks, geology. I liked finding things, the sheer glory in digging something up that's new and great. And eventually I became a manager at a dinosaur museum, and so dinosaurs kind of followed me and ambushed me until I couldn't get away from them. So this is a little escape, if that makes any sense. Still wish that camera was showing you some. You know what? It's fine. It's fine for now. I think I'll do this Monday earlier at like 7. There we go. Something like 7 Mountain Time. I'll get some more of this shale down. Here, I'll do, while people are still here, I'll do some low-hanging fruit here and blast it a little more. And I have to keep an eye on your screen because this very easily gets overexposed, so I'm always managing the amount of light going to the lens, and sometimes I lose myself. Scribe this down a little more, 50x magnification. So this airoscribe has a spring in the middle, and the more I twist and draw it away from the spring, the fewer strokes and then it becomes more of a matrix chipper. This is a function on both the HW322 and the much cheaper Zoic Velour, which is just as functional. It's a wonderful tool. I have one at our museum. I have one on order personally, but it just takes a long time to get the tools in. They have such a big backlog. But you want to find AirScribe, Zoic Velour is your best bet right now. Mix that a little bit. I will tell you when I make mistakes. Mistakes are easy. That's a bit of a nick. I'm not too worried about it. That's like a superficial scale. That's a bit of a bone nick, but just eager to get more of this exposed. Okay. Fun part that people ask for and want so badly. Air abrasives. Come on. A little, there we go. Luckily, swan blasters are very adjustable. See, I should have got more of this brown layer down with the AirScribe. It's a pain to work down with air abrasives, and while I'm holding on these brown layers, the backscatter could be damaging other bone and scale. So if I had like a fossil bird in front of me, for example, this is something I would never do for fear of ruining the feathers. Yeah, there's a lot of this brown right here. Let's see if I can challenge myself to get that down a little more. Let's go with that, see what I can do. Everybody loves air abrasion. If you're a preparator or an aspiring preparator and you happen to be watching this right now, word of advice, no matter what unit you're using, never fill it up 100% with your medium, whether it be sodium bicarbonate, aluminum oxide, iron powder, whatever you're doing. Don't even fill it up 50%. I refill mine about a quarter of the way, or else you're not going to have the real fine control. Like if you want to strip the paint off an old F-150 or something, sure, go ahead, fill it up all the way. but it's also nicer to the equipment as time goes on. Let's see if I do any damage here. Solid test. It's wearing down a little bit. There we go. Again, there we go. And a clog, of course. So Swan Blaster MV2L, this is the abrasive unit, the system I use. To be fair, this nozzle is not made by Crystal Mark, the manufacturer. It's a nozzle I machined, and it is prone to clogging. It's my bad on that one. Where is my declogger? Need a little more oomph on that. See if it clogs. So again, for anybody just joining, this is 55-million-year-old fossil fish, Phareodus testis. Not a very common fish from the Green River Formation. It's an arowana relative. A lot of people liken it to a piranha. They have huge teeth. We are preparing the specimen scientifically, and today I've demonstrated initial manual, mechanical, fine mechanical, and abrasive methods to prepare the fossil. Now, there are other things, such as consolidation, which I haven't needed yet, and really fine-tuned pin vicing, so carving all different kind of shapes out of pin vices, and also discussion of consolidant media, which is best, butte bar, paraloid B72, B76, and also temporary consolidation using things like, well, carbowax, polyethylene glycol, which I have a paper in the works. I'll look forward to that. Also cyclodecane, a wax-like substance you can use as support, sublimates in the air, don't need to do anything to get rid of it, and some of these really thin bones often need support like that during the prep process. Not to be too wordy, but there are lots of things I can do on this stream. If you look at my archive stream from a few days ago, that was at Badlands Dinosaur Museum. I managed that lab. It's a federal repository for Bureau of Land Management and Bureau of Reclamation fossils. We have holotypes and things. I did dinosaur prep there a few days ago, and I download and re-upload a lot of these videos to my YouTube. That's in my bio, Natural History Studio on YouTube. This right here, this is a coprolite. This is a fossil poo that landed on this fish. Fossil poo is all over the place in the Green River. Makes sense. Most common form of detritus. But I appreciate people being here and engaging. You know, the more you engage, the longer I stay. I do most of this fun shale prep late at night. Often with my girlfriend, who's also a professional preparator, but her sleep schedule is much more normal than mine. So here I am. Man, this stuff is so fun. I'm outside of my abrasion enclosure, but I'm using such a small powder flow that the extractors I have next to me are enough. And this is sodium bicarbonate baking soda. It's nothing like horrible for you. I mean, you don't want to be breathing in gulps of baking soda, but none of it is even approaching my face. Really nice tail fin coming out here. Yeah, the powder flow might be a bit strong. And I reiterate, but when I'm talking these things I'm saying, when I'm at work, I keep them to myself usually. It's my internal musings, but I figure for your benefit, may as well say them out loud, because this is my skunk works. I experiment here. I appreciate that so much, Vaga Paris. I'm glad there's something for you in this. When I was just starting out, I wish I had content like this. If none of you have watched Mumlambo's videos on YouTube, he's a amateur New Zealand, an amateur preparator in New Zealand. He's not doing, I think he's doing some air abrasive now. He's working on Cenozoic fossils that he finds on the beach there, but they're very interesting, very well-informed, in-depth videos about his endeavors to do the preparation right. So I'm an academic professional preparator. I guess you'd have to call him amateur avocational, but he's more professional than a lot of the people I meet who have museum jobs. Doing pretty good. So it's the upper margin of the caudal fin, the tail. We still have the lower margin to delineate. A little air scribing to do there. Just gonna lean back for a second, take a little breather. Ooh, thank you, chat from Bot. I appreciate it. thank you everybody who's here for joining in or maintaining your residency. This is this coprolite, this fossil poo. It's all over the place in the Green River, but right now it's on top of my fish, so it's gotta go. Happy little accidents. Should be closer. 60x mag. The key is just getting rid of these orange layers, like I said. The seasonal barbs. Carbon rich, they're compressed more. They take a lot of powder to get through. And they risk backscatter to more fragile elements. I do adjust the light. I try to adjust the light every time I zoom in and out. The camera does try to compensate, but I think it's a little too smart for its own good. Whenever you zoom in, here's 100x, you lose light. That's just microscopy, it's optics. I lose 25% of the light going to my eyes so that 100% can go to the camera. And that's top tier, you know, most beam splitters, you're lucky to get 50% going to your eyes. Now this is some nerd talk, but anybody who wants a setup like this, it's very important to consider. I'm always happy to answer questions as well. I know it's very niche. But if you're a preparator, like I've been in many different institutions, at a display lab in a museum, you want a setup like this so you can stream or cast to your gallery so people can watch what you're working on under the scope. This setup is not just, you know, I mean, I hate to trivialize it, not just for your enjoyment, but, you know, showing people what's possible, showing my colleagues what's possible. Okay, let's see. This is how we're doing on this tail. Not bad. Cleared a lot of that orange junk away. Generally a coprolite that small, it's almost always fish, especially because there is no sign of any bones in there or anything. It's not to say like a turtle coprolite will have bones, but it's going to be bigger. I'll show it on camera at some point. I have unprepared a coprolite, maybe about 8 inches long here. I think I'll do that on stream at some point. You know, should I keep this up? Yeah, some of the poops are really cool. I expect this one is a crocodile, this 8-inch one I'm talking about, because there's evidence it has a spiral, and we have things like Lydiasuchus, giant crocodiles in the Green River. Will it clog on me again? So far, so good. There's no other way to get those dimples out, those scale dimples. And yeah, this is all fossil scale you're seeing. It's not bone. It is hydroxyapatite. One of my earlier streams, I showed how to take the fossilized soft tissue out of the eye of a Priscachera. All of these fish, the eyes are totally preserved, melanosomes, everything. A lot of commercial preparators, because they don't have much time, they need to make a profit, they just blow that away. But here you will see me recover all of it. You can't do that with air abrasives. You need pin vicing techniques like I was showing you earlier. I've even extracted color patterns out of some of these fish. I have Diplomistus. Each of them has the same line, the same stripe of color going back from the dorsal fin to the caudal fin. There's one other preparator when I was younger who talked about it, and there's a curator who dismissed the idea, but she would claim there is this stripe of color, and go figure, there it is. You just have to be really diligent to get it out. Now that in particular, I would not use air abrasive techniques. These are much sturdier scales, and I just wouldn't expect that here. Not to say it isn't possible. Take my foot off the pedal for a second. It does get a little laborious, especially because I was doing it all day earlier. I work Saturdays. Ugh. Well, I'm glad some of you have been here to learn a thing or two. Where's my cursor? There we go. I'll get right back to that abrasion. Just wanted to break that wall again and say thank you so much for being here. Whether it be 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 100 people, I don't care. To reiterate, my name is Steve Clausen. I'm a professional vertebrate fossil preparator, nearly 20 years experience working at museums like the Field Museum in Chicago, Burpee Museum. I now manage the lab at Badlands Dinosaur Museum in North Dakota. We are a federal repository for a number of agencies. I'm working on mostly dinosaur fossils there. Our hang-up is that now our prospect of future federal grants is kind of not there. I mean, if you've been keeping up with the times, you know what I mean. So I'm not looking to make any sort of income off of streaming, whether it be here or YouTube or anywhere. I don't want that. I am just repping the brand for Badlands Dinosaur Museum. We have a Throne account that is linked in my bio, Badlands Dinosaur Museum. You could do anything from throwing 10 or 20 bucks for a couple hours of fossil preparation to sponsoring equipment we need, just to keep bringing these fossils the attention they deserve, us still being a federal repository. That's not all I'm doing this for. I'm really just doing this for fun. But, you know, Danny Anduza came through a few weeks ago. He streamed from my lab, and, you know, we collabed here and there. And just looking at his model, I think we might be able to do a little more to help our program. Whose number one initiative is educating the public, specifically the public in western North Dakota and eastern Montana, who really, really, really need science education. So if you can, just take a look at that. You don't have to do anything. Send it to a friend. That's my blurb. Now we can go back to like fun air abrasive stuff. Let's see if it clogs. Will it clog? Will it clog? Nope. The reason I'm worried is because this is not, again, a nozzle that is made by Crystal Mark. This was one I retrofitted and machined on my own to be compatible at these lower pressures, but it does tend to clog. you see how quickly those white winter layers blast away. The orange, white, these are all varbs. They're called varbs. So that's seasonal deposition. So every 2 varbs represent 1 year of deposition. The reason they're so orange and compressed there, those are spring, summer. They're full of all the carbon from plant growth and things like that. And of course, in the winter, we don't have any of that. So it's just simple limestone detrital sediment. And so this fossil fish is from a portion of the Green River Formation called the F1 beds, also known as the 18-inch layer. It is very, very crazy that across kilometers and kilometers of its expanse, it does really average 18 inches in thickness, and I believe it is about 4,000 years of deposition represented. The reason that 18 inches is so significant is because it has the best preservation in terms of soft tissues and just overall completeness of animals in the Green River Formation. So anytime we have fossil stomachs, gut traces, complete amazing gar, for example, just all the beautiful fossil fish you tend to see in museums, they're either like Solnhofen in Germany or 18-inch layer Green River Formation. So we're working on an 18-inch layer specimen of Phareodus testis that is 100% complete, save for a scar across its skull caused by a cement saw in the field. The quarriers could not have known. This is something I've done myself in the past when you're basically cutting a square around a fish you've already found. You don't know what's underneath that fish necessarily, so this was underneath a fish of importance, and when that fish was removed, oh boy, we got this Phareodus right underneath, but we nicked its skull. But no big deal, because on stream I'll show you how to make some artificial matrix to fill that gap. I do not restore fossils. I don't try to make fake scales or color things in. Every time we damage a fossil, if we're doing like scientific prep, we need that to be noticeable. We have to leave it there, as painful as it might look. Go on eBay. Every single fish that you find or want to purchase, I guarantee you there's restoration no matter what they say. No matter what they say. I don't sell fish. This is all a scientific endeavor. I have a book that maybe 5 or 10 years from now will be complete. And a study on taphonomy I'm doing. I'm not knocking the commercial industry. I understand, people have quarries and fossil fish to sell. And as I said earlier, there's this Hippocratic oath preparators should take, whether their specimen is going to a museum or a gift shop or whatever. It's our duty to make sure that fossil is taken care of. It makes me sad to see professional preparators do this wrong, commercial preparators do it wrong, but not so much amateur preparators. We can steer you in the right direction early on, and that's a quarter of why I'm doing this, I suppose. Green River Formation, I think it's about 55.6 million years old, so this is just after the dinosaurs. The age fluctuates. I think it's based on detrital zircon. I could be wrong. Gonna step back from the pedal for a second. Well, I'm going to do a little more of this, and unless anybody has an objection could be as simple as making a comment. I'll probably end up taking off. I'm glad y'all have stayed with me. I love doing these late night streams. I'll definitely be back 11 p.m. Mountain Time, US, Saturday next week. I'm considering doing Monday around 7 p.m. crossing over with Danny and Duza, doing a little thing there. But like I said, full-time government job plus running my own business, and then there's this. I have a hefty schedule, and I do not want to make money off of this. This is for fun and for science for Badlands Dinosaur Museum. That all needs more scribe work. get into those vertebrae. Phareodus vertebrae are shrouded in dense scales, so I'm not sure there's much a chance we see bone there. And then of course these here are the fin rays going into the ribs. They're shrouded in the scales as well. I see all these Phareodus, these commercial ones, just showing the bones exposed. That means you strip through the scales because you didn't give yourself enough time. I understand it's for profit, but this is for science. But with that said, I have not read any objections, so I'm probably going to quit it here. Let's zoom that out. A little bit of a mess here. Well, with that said, once again, I'm Steve Clausen, Fossil Preparator on Twitch, Natural History Studio on YouTube, where I upload these stream re-uploads. Lab Manager at Badlands Dinosaur Museum, Dickinson, North Dakota. You can find me on Blue Sky and Facebook as well. Don't know how well you can see this, because if I do that, it's like, can't see it very well. I don't really have a... Oh, you know what? I can do this. I can do this. This is our fossil. By my thumb is the skull, the Phareodus. And then there, at the end, is the tail. That's what we worked on all day today. And then there's that cut through the skull that was made in the quarter. But you know what? Happy little accidents, like Bob Ross says. We're going to make that look pretty. And probably on Monday, 7 Mountain Time, U.S., I will continue this. If that doesn't happen, I'll certainly be back 11 p.m. Mountain Time next Saturday. Thank you so much to everyone who is here. I really appreciate your viewership. I really appreciate your comments. I have this monitor up here so I can see everybody. Thank you, Papa Paris. I hope you come back. I hope all you come back. And hope you have a good rest of your night. And do you have any ideas for topics you want me to discuss? Things you want to see under the microscope, stuff like that, please let me know in my chat. I am really open for whatever. I have these super sophisticated microscope setups and things, so why not put them to use? Let's see, what is it? It's like 3 a.m. here. I bet my girlfriend is wondering where I am, so I will we'll call this a night. Peace.